Weather this fall has been wet and dry, varying conditions as you might expect. One thing, though, it has really not been is consistently cool. We've had a few rounds of freezing temperatures, mostly just in the far northern plains. Outlook now will call for drier weather, generally mild conditions, not much freezing weather expected over the next couple of weeks, and that's taking us up to about Halloween. So it looks like, at least October-wise, we're not getting an early start on winter. Not quite yet ready to guarantee November, but that's looking like it might end up being relatively mild as well. Here's what we have going on right now. There has been some rain-cooled air in the northern plains. That's mostly getting lifted out. We have a split flow this week in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which is fairly typical, but the southern branch of the jet is fairly weak, which will allow a nice warm-up to move through the week ahead. Now, this is late October, so these are not going to be a lot of 70s and 80s, but a lot of 60s and 70s. And generally above normal temperatures in the orange shaded areas. It looks like it'll stay like this for a while. A little bit of ridging late in the week may even bring some of that fairly warm weather into the Great Lakes and parts of southern Canada. There's some evidence of cool weather dropping into the northern Rockies, but I don't really see that as a big pattern change for the second week. As far as precipitation goes, front will bring a rain system through the southeast. Other than that, Pacific Northwest will be rainy, mountain snows. Most of the nation relatively dry, we think. Then as this low-pressure system builds into the Rockies with the cool air, I would expect some mountain snows mostly out in the Great Divide area by the end of the week. In other words, by this coming weekend. As far as the second week goes, it looks really pretty dry. There's some evidence there might be a rain or rain-mixed snow, probably mostly rain system through the northern plains late in the second week. That would be shortly before Halloween. A little too early, obviously, to get any kind of a feel as to whether or not that would be heavy, but with the pattern shaped the way it is, I would suspect it would not be a heavy precipitation maker. So the cool weather will largely retreat, and as we go into the last week of October, generally mild weather will be overspreading the United States once again. And as we look ahead to the long-range pattern, November through January, the first 3 winter months, not the tail end, it's looking generally pretty warm across the southern states. At least more likely to be warm than anything else, with kind of a no forecast or equal chances for the northern plains. And the precipitation outlook, dry in the deep south with an area of wet in the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies, and equal chances everywhere else. What this really means is that it could be wet, could be dry, but there's really no grand indicator of anything certain. So back to the beginning, what we're looking at this week is drier weather, milder weather, and no winter yet.